Joining us now to discuss the potential bad news that is Eliot Shorr-Parks. Eliot, thanks for calling up.
Thanks for having me on. How you guys doing today?
Good to talk to you again, pal.
Oh, always great to hear from Eliot.
Always.
By the way, I have to thank you before we get to the Landon Dickerson thing. You know, I've been on the air here at WIP for 16 months, 17 months. I've never had as much support for anything I've ever done here at WIP as my fight with you about the traffic on Friday. So I have to thank you for that.
I think if there's one rule, if you want to be on the popular side of something, just pick the opposite of me.
Yes.
So I'm happy I was able to do that for you. And I will say, not to bury the lead here with Landon, I've never experienced worse traffic getting to the stadium than I did for that open practice. So I probably jinxed myself.
There you go.
And you're probably sitting there like, I deserve this.
Yeah, it is worse.
I almost texted Spike, and I didn't want to give him the satisfaction. So I just sat there. Yeah.
You never want to give Spike the satisfaction.
No, that's another
He'll
rule
never
for
let
sure.
you forget the one time you were complimentary.
Yeah, well, hey, what are we doing here? All right. So the news per Adam Schefter on Landon Dickerson is that he has a meniscus injury, that he is going to seek out other opinions. We talked a little bit about the different things that can mean. A meniscus injury can be from no surgery, play through it. Then you could have a meniscus repair surgery, which would mean he's likely out for the season. And then there would be a meniscus sort of like removal surgery, which I guess he could be back in 6 weeks. Anything you're hearing otherwise on Landon?
So I don't have any additional details to what Schefter's reported, just that he is going to seek a second opinion, and they're still deciding what to do. I honestly think, considering your history with Embiid, you might be more qualified to speak about this than I am. But I guess what I can add is just, I do think if there is a player, no outcome would shock me here. It would not shock me if he was suited up week 1 against Dallas. There is a world where I just think Landon tries to play through this, and that's probably why there's not a ton of details being given right now, right? Because they don't want to have it be one clear thing. So it could be a slew of different outcomes. But what I would say too is he does have a history of leg injuries. I believe he tore the ACL in both of his knees in college. He's had foot injuries. So, again, not to compare to Embiid because it's a different sport, different body and all that. But this is another leg injury for a guy that has suffered a few, and you have to think that factors in on the timeline.
Sure, and I think the other thing too is, and Jack was talking about him potentially playing through it too. I think there is a difference if this happens in week 15, week 16, as opposed to before week 1, and because my gut would tell me that him playing through it for an entire season, I don't know, feels untenable. My gut is that somebody told him to have surgery, and that's why he wants another opinion. Is that if he got the answer he wanted out of the, and I'm not saying they wouldn't do their due diligence otherwise, but normally when you see other opinions, it means the first opinion wasn't something that they particularly liked.
Yeah, that would be my guess. And I would just say from seeing, unfortunately, a lot of player injuries throughout years covering training camp, normally the players kind of know right away, and you could tell just, first of all, watching the practice, but also since someone did record video from the crowd and it got out there, you can see defensive players turning around to almost as if they're hearing something, cause from him going down. So it does seem like it is serious, but again, I will stress that Landon to me does seem like somebody that could potentially just say, nah, I'll just play through it. Obviously he should do what's best for his health, and there are certain things you just can't do. But from covering him, it would not shock me if prior to week 1, there is some question as to whether he'll play.
So what's the plan? In your estimation, if Dickerson has to miss, this season is obviously a different animal, but has to miss the first 6 weeks of the season, what do you think? How do you think this shakes out?
Yeah, so losing Landon is a really big deal, both on the field and off the field. And I know that it's not like he's not going to be in the building if he gets surgery, but there's just a difference between being a player that can lead when you're on the field and a player that can lead when you're in the rehab room. And Landon has become a really big part of that locker room and a really big vocal leader in that locker room. Him and Mailata, are super tight. I worry about Mailata's play suffering if Landon's not out there. So it's a big deal. Now, in terms of who could go in and play for him, they have a couple of different options. One, they could just put Matt Pryor up to right guard. He's played that over 1,000 snaps in his career, and when he's played recently, that's what he's predominantly played the most of, and they could put Steen over to left guard, taking Landon's spot, because he played that last year in the championship game when Landon was down, and that's a position he's practiced a lot. So you could move two pieces there if you wanted. Now, if they don't want to move two pieces, you could put Pryor at left guard, but he just hasn't practiced that a ton so far in training camp. So those would, like, Matt Pryor is the name I think is the most likely to step in. And then the other two that I would look at, Darian Kennard has been taking some reps there in practice. And you could potentially see Drew Kendall, the rookie. He played center in college, but I think you could kick out to guard pretty easily. And that, to me, would be something they would do more of if it's short term. I think if they view it long term, then you do probably move the two pieces because you're setting up for, hopefully not, but maybe multiple weeks, if not months, without Landon.
So, there's actually one thing you didn't mention.
All right.
Jason Kelce.
I mean, honestly.
Hold on. Now we're heating up.
I mean, like...
They went to the Super Bowl with Juergens at right guard.
All I'm saying is he's got a month or less than a month. I guess he's only got 3 weeks. He's a little skinny right now.
Yeah.
Right guard.
Start eating.
He's not too skinny.
Well,
Start eating, Jason.
So what I would say, though, is, like, obviously I would say the chances are slim, although he is making a big podcast announcement on Wednesday, apparently. So maybe that's what
I don't think that's it.
I think Taylor Swift's coming on.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. But the thing is, it is really, really, really hard to acquire good offensive line talent. Like, it's hard to do at the beginning of free agency. It's hard to do at any part of the year. But especially now, it's even harder to do. Most teams can't even field 5 good offensive linemen, let alone have a 6th, 7th, and 8th guy on the roster that could be starting quality. So they might bring somebody in, but I do think whatever their plan is, if Landon's out, it will probably be from guys already in the building.
Man, I'm nervous because, again, I'm starting to have some 2020 flashbacks where, Jamone Brown was out there. We always talk about Stoutland U. Stoutland's unbelievable, but sometimes there's just not good enough talent. And the fact that you haven't even mentioned Kenyan Green, who they traded for in the CJ trade, that's concerning to me because he should be able to step in and be a guard.
Yeah, so Kenyon, I will say, has been, when he's practiced, he has practiced on the left side. He's not been practicing on the right side. And when Dickerson wasn't injured, that was noteworthy because everyone expected him to compete for the right guard job. Well, now that Dickerson's down, almost by a stroke of luck, at least he's been practicing on that side of the ball. Now the issue is, he's not really been practicing. He missed the beginning of training camp with an injury. He's now sidelined, I believe, with a shoulder injury. He's missed a few days of practice. And when he's played, he's been really bad in the NFL. So he's just not a great option. And, to what you were saying about being worried, like, the offensive line is, in my opinion, like the heartbeat of this team. They are probably the best unit, and I think they are what makes this team go, both from the running game and from the passing game. So the years where the Eagles are bad, we can point to the quarterback. Like Carson in 2020 was bad, but I think internally they will point to the years where they're not good, the offensive line struggles. So this is a huge thing. If he were to, God forbid, miss the season, like, it is one of those things that we could be talking about in December and saying, why did the season not go the way we expected? And we could point to this moment.
Well, yeah, and by the way, if he has meniscus repair, he's missing this season. So if that's the surgery he's got to have, then he can't play this season. So that would rule him out. But I guess part of that is and again, this is my history with these injuries, is that I don't think they know if they can do that until they do the surgery. I think they have to get in there and see, what it looks like before they try doing the repair.
Well, and also, let's say he does try the shorter route, right? The one where he doesn't have season-ending surgery. Like, he could re-injure this again. The nice thing about the repair would be, at least in theory, if he misses all year, he comes back next year, good to go, fully, fixed and everything. If he's going to try to play through this, if he's going to maybe get the shorter option, this could become something where week to week, the Eagles don't really know what his status is going to be. And so obviously you would rather have him, but there's also something really hard. And I think Jordan Mailata would tell you this about having a different person out there all the time next to you. Like, Mailata talks a lot about how him and Dickerson have had, 10,000 plus reps together on that side of the line, both in practice and in games. And now they're better for it. If it's going to be a situation where 1 week it's Dickerson, then they have to play Pryor because Dickerson's hurt, and then it's Steen, like, that could really hurt things.
Just 2 more questions before we let you go, Eliot. First of all, there were 2 practices. There was the open practice on Sunday night, and then Saturday they practiced as well. Anything stick out to you, Jaylen wise? How's Jaylen looked, and anything other than anything on the offensive side?
So on the offensive side, I would say that I didn't think they were great last night. Jaylen did have a really nice pass down the sideline to Devontae. It looks like he kind of squeezed it into a small space there between Cooper and Sidney Brown. Sidney might have been a little bit late getting over, but it was a nice pass, good touchdown. Outside of that, and Jack can speak to this because we called the practice. Like, he was
exactly
running
right.
for his life. He was running for his life the majority of practice. Like, they really, really got to him last night.
And that was with Dickerson in there. Like, it was with Dickerson was playing.
Yeah. And that was with Dickerson in there. So, I think on the offensive side over the last 2 days, or 2 practices, it's not been an impressive showing, in my opinion, from the offense.
It's not been an impressive camp, it doesn't sound like, from the offense overall. I know there have been good moments, but I think if you were to give, my gut would be, if you were to grade the offense so far, you would be somewhere around a B-, something like that. That would be my gut, right?
Yeah, I don't think they've been great. I mean, as part of that, I don't think Jaylen has had a great training camp so far. I'd have to go back and look, but I would guess the 9 touchdowns he has in 12 practices is probably below what he normally has at this part of training camp. So it does feel like the defense is pretty consistently winning the day.
And I can't tell if that means we should stop sleeping on the Eagles' defense or be concerned about the Eagles' offense. That's what I can't tell.
Yeah, I don't know where I would fall on that either. I would tend to lean more worried about the offense.
Yeah.
Because I do think the defense, while good, like, I think the offense, there's been plays to be made that have been missed. So that's where I would lean, but you're right. I mean, it's a good question.
Well, and speaking of the defense, any work out of Jacorian Bennett yet, and any sort of, I guess, follow-up on the cornerback situation after what we saw on Thursday night?
Yeah, so they didn't waste any time getting him in there. He had first-team reps in yesterday's practice. Not a ton of them, but he was out there with the first-team defense, which is a sign of, A, that they're already comfortable with how much his grasp of the defense is, so he's already out there able to do it. And then, B, it just shows they really want to see him out there. So he was out there with the first-team defense, and at this point, like, I don't know if I would call him the favorite, but he certainly has a really good chance of winning the job. Now, Keeley, I thought, had a decent practice last night. Albeit with the backups, but I thought he played well. So Adoree was with the first team the majority of snaps, but Bennett did get in there. So tomorrow will probably be a lighter practice, but with the Browns coming in for 2 days, I mean those 2 days could decide who wins this job because they really, really value those joint practices, and it's going to be their last chance, before week 1 to get in good work against another team.
So here is, I think, the most important question is with the Browns coming into town for the joint practices. How excited is Eliot Shorr-Parks to chart Shedeur Sanders at practice?
I can't wait.
He's a click magnet.
Yeah,
he's
a
click magnet.
I've already decided where I'm gonna stand to make sure I can see both fields at the same time. I'll be charting it. I mean, look.
Yeah, you got to grade him too. I know he's not an Eagles player, but Shedeur needs a grade out of him.
Yeah, you need clicks.
The training camp king does need to give out a grade. So I will do that. But the Browns, honestly, were one of the first teams I charted both of, and their media and fan base picked it up. So when I tracked Deshaun Watson a few years ago, I remember he wasn't. I think he put the cap emoji or something for one of my days with his stats. So
turned out it wasn't cap, by the way.
Yeah,
turned out it
wasn't
cap.
Exactly. Yeah.
If I remember correctly, you went on Cleveland radio and kind of gave him the business.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Well, it's like when I come on your show.
We're used to you. When someone else isn't used to you, it throws everything off.
Yeah, traffic's worse.
Startling, I will say. When I go on other radio shows and they're not completely ready for.
Because you did it to Kansas City too, when you said that if you're building a quarterback, you'd build it more like Jalen Hurts than Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, and I was right about that.
You weren't right about it. You are insane.
I went on and said it's the next great rivalry in sports, and I think that's become the case as well.
It's heating up. That takes heating up, buddy.
Yeah. All right, Eliot. You can get the Go Birds podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Is there a Landon Dickerson emergency pod today?
Should there be one? I was going to just do the daily, but maybe I will do a little emergency pod.
No, I think a 15-minute emergency pod, given all of the...
get Seltzer on it, too.
Yeah,
I'll text him.
Mention the Kelce thing. Give me credit. All right, there he is.
I will.
There he is. Eliot Shorr-Parks.